Hello girls, I hope you're staying safe at home. Now to continue with the sense organs, today we come to the last part and we are going to talk about the ear, which is, an organ for hearing and body balance. Now the ear is made up of three main divisions: the outer ear, middle ear and the inner ear. Now when we talk about the outer ear, we're talking about the outer projecting part, which is known as the pinna, also known as auricle, the auditory canal leading up to the eardrum. Okay, so you have the auditory or the ear canal and the eardrum, which is your outer ear. Now the middle ear contains three tiny bones: hammer, anvil and stirrup, also known as malleus, incus and stapes. Okay, and then there is a connection between the middle ear, that is the part which contains the three tiny bones, and the throat through a tube which is known as eustachian tube. The three bones collectively are known as ear ossicles. So if I ask you what are ear ossicles, you must be able to tell me that they are the three tiny bones present inside the ear: malleus, incus and stapes. So here you can see how the handle of the hammer is connected to the eardrum. The other part is connected to the anvil and the anvil is connected to the stirrup. So there is a connection from the eardrum to the hammer, anvil and stirrup, or malleus, incus and stapes. Okay. Now if we go to the stirrup, you will see the stirrup is fitting on to an opening. Okay, and this opening is covered by a thin membrane, and this opening is known as the oval window. Then there is another opening, a second opening, which is known as a round window, and that round window is also covered by a thin membrane and it connects the middle and the inner ear. Now moving on to the inner ear, which is also known as the membranous labyrinth. It has two main parts: the cochlea and the semicircular canals. Okay, the cochlea, you can see its spiral shape. It looks like a snail shell. It has 2.5 turns. Okay, now if we go into the inner portion of the cochlea, you can see it is divided into three canals. The first is known as vestibular canal, the middle is known as median canal, and this bottom one is known as tympanal canal. Okay, the median, or which is also known as cochlear canal, is filled with a fluid which is known as endolymph. Okay, and of course the vestibular canal and the tympanal canal also has liquid in it which is known as perilymph. The middle layer here, you can see, that is the median canal, contains sensory hair cells. Okay, and this has it picks up the sensation of the sound and sends it to the brain. So the middle canal has areas which has sensory cells, spiral organs called organs of Corti, and it is responsible for picking up sound and it is responsible for hearing. The nerve fibers arising from these cells join the auditory nerve. As you can see that the organ of Corti or the sensory cells, they are lying on a membrane. This membrane is known as basilar membrane. Okay, now if we take a look at the diagrammatic representation, this is what you'll get for your ICSC. Okay, the other part is the semicircular canal, which we haven't talked about. Okay, it is made of three sets. Okay, these canals, you can see there are three semicircular canals here which are arranged at right angles to each other in such a way that one is horizontal and the other two are vertical. They are at right angles to each other. one end of each canal is widened there. Each canal, it has a wide portion at the bottom. Okay, it is known as ampulla, and this ampulla has sensory cells which is responsible for dynamic balance. Now, dynamic balance means when the body is in motion, and here you can see the nerve fibers arises and it joins the auditory nerve. The short stem joining the bases of the semicircular canal is divided into two. Top portion is known as utriculus, the bottom portion is known as sacculus. Now, these parts also contain sensory cells for static balance. Static balance means when the body is not moving, when it is stationary, like when you are standing or when you are sitting. Okay. Now, coming to the two functions of the ear, the internal ear is involved in two sensory functions, hearing and body balance. So, here you can see how the sound waves are collected by the pinna. So, the pinna is here outside, the external ear, it is collected, and then it passes on through the auditory canal and reaches the eardrum, and the eardrum starts vibrating, and this eardrum passes the vibration on to the ear ossicles, that is malleus, from malleus to incus, from the incus to the stapes. The stapes in turn vibrates the membrane of the oval window. Okay, and you know, this vibration of the last ossicle, that is the stapes or the stirrup, is magnified because there is a sort of a lever like action of the first two ossicles. So this vibration is passed on to the membrane of the oval window, and this, from here, what happens, from the oval window it reaches the inner ear, and when it reaches the inner ear it reaches the cochlea, and the fluid which is inside the cochlea will also vibrate. So this arrow mark tells you the movement of the vibration. Okay, so the vibrating movement of the fluid, what happens, it will go and stimulate the hair-like processes in the sensory cells of the cochlea in the spiral organ. Okay, that is the organ of Corti, and the impulses are then picked up by the nerve endings, and it goes through the auditory nerve to the brain. Now, the different areas of cochlear canal are suited to sounds of different pitches. Okay, most of the sounds we hear are combination of vibrations at different rates of speed, of different pitches, and you know, we cannot pick up vibrations of all frequencies. We can only pick up vibrations between 20 to 20,000 hertz, but the ones which we hear, clearly hear, are the frequencies between 1000 to 4000 hertz. And you know, there are certain animals like dogs and bats which can pick up sounds of even higher frequencies. Now, next, moving on to the body balance. Now, when you turn your head round and round, what happens in different directions? The fluid which is inside the semicircular canals, inside these canals, they also start shaking. Okay, they start moving. So the moving fluid in the canal pushes against the sensory hair cells, sending nerve impulse again through the nerve fibers attached to them to the brain via the auditory nerve. Now, the sensory cells in the semicircular canals are concerned with, as I already told you, dynamic balance, dynamic equilibrium, that is while the body is in motion. And in the same way, the sensory patches which are in the utriculus and sacculus below the semicircular canal register the static balance. Static means when you are at rest, either you are standing or when you are sitting. I think when you were little, you used to spin round and round and round, and then when you stop, you feel dizzy. What is happening? The fluid inside the semicircular canal also goes round and round. So when you stop, the fluid, since it is liquid, it will go round for some time. So that is the time when you feel dizzy. Okay, seasickness, air sickness, car sickness are due to these sensations of equilibrium. That is the movement of fluid when you are in motion. But you are sitting, but the fluid inside your ears are moving. So your brain do not know what is happening, and then you get seasick or air sick or car sick. Okay, so with this we come to the end of this chapter, children. For your assignment this week, you will do the structured type question in your textbooks, that is number E, except for the part, there is one question where there is a comparison of a part of an eye with a part of a photographic camera. You don't do that, but remaining all the structured type questions you will do, and as usual you submit it day after tomorrow. Till then children, stay safe. God bless you.